I found my granddaughter and her infant living in a tent beneath a bridge. When she looked up and saw me, she burst into tears. She'd been told I died years ago. I took them home, and when I finally revealed the truth about her father, she learned how much money he had stolen from her. If you're watching this, subscribe and tell me where you're tuning in from. Here's how I ended up standing in the rain under a freeway overpass, staring at my 19-year-old granddaughter, Madison, clutching a crying baby. 3 days earlier, I was living my quiet, retired life in Minneapolis, assuming my son Derek was just being his usual distant self. Distant, I would learn, was the polite word. Began with a Facebook message from someone named Crystal Williams. Mrs. Henderson, I think your granddaughter needs help. She's been asking about you at the shelter. My blood ran cold. According to Derek, Madison was in California, thriving in a nursing program. I wrote back immediately. Which shelter? Where is she? An hour passed. Then an address downtown. And one more line. She has a baby now. Says her dad told her you passed away 2 years ago. Derek had told Madison I was dead while she was pregnant and alone. When she needed her grandmother most, he erased me. I drove downtown that wet Thursday morning, heart pounding. The encampment under the freeway was larger than I'd imagined, rows of tents flanking the concrete pillars, the heavy air thick with damp clothing and despair. Crystal, a worn-looking woman in her 40s, met me at the edge. She's the blonde in the blue tent, Crystal said. Been here about 6 months. Baby's around 4 months old. Sweet girl, but she's struggling. I approached slowly. Madison, I called. The flap opened. There she was, my beautiful granddaughter, rail-thin, holding a tiny baby swaddled in a threadbare towel. Her eyes went wide, then she started to shake. Grandma, she whispered. Dad said you died of cancer. He showed me the obituary. He'd forged an obituary. I knelt right there in the mud, ruining my good slacks. Honey, I'm alive. Your father lied. Madison collapsed into my arms, sobbing, and the baby, Emma, began wailing too. I held them both and made a silent promise. Derek would answer for this. First, I had to get them safe. Pack whatever you've got, I said. You're coming home with me. As we loaded her few belongings, Madison kept touching my sleeve as if to confirm I was real. Why would Dad say you were dead? I didn't know yet. When I did, it would shake me. Getting Madison and Emma settled felt like Christmas morning, if Christmas also meant discovering your son had committed identity theft against his own daughter. While Madison showered and I fed Emma, she told me the last 2 years. I got pregnant junior year, she whispered. The father wanted nothing to do with us. When I told Dad, he said you'd be ashamed. He said I'd disappointed everyone. My heart broke. I would have moved mountains for her. What else did he say? That you were sick and didn't want to be bothered by my problems. Then when Emma was born, he told me you died and left me nothing in your will because I'd ruined my life. She wiped new tears away. I believed him, Grandma. I thought you'd rejected me, even in death. Derek had deliberately isolated his pregnant daughter, convincing her I had abandoned her. Madison, I would have been at your side for every appointment, every contraction, every first night home. Then she dropped the bomb. Dad said he was getting help from your estate to keep me in school. But the money never came. I got kicked out. That's when it fell apart. My estate, while I was very much alive. I prickled my spine. What kind of help? I asked. She scrolled through old texts. Here, this one from last year. Grandma's estate lawyer said the education fund will release $50,000 next month. Tay focused on school. $50,000 out of a non-existent estate. My hand shook as the puzzle clicked. Derek wasn't just lying. He was stealing, using my death as cover. But from where? While Madison napped with Emma, I made calls to my bank, my financial advisor, my insurance company. What I learned made me physically ill. 6 months ago, someone tried to claim my life insurance. Denied because the company couldn't verify my death, but they had the counterfeit death certificate Derek submitted, forged doctor signatures and all. My advisor added, "We've had multiple calls from someone claiming to be your estate's executor, asking how to liquidate your retirement accounts." We told him he'd need documentation. Derek had been trying to drain my savings by pretending I was dead. And when official channels failed, he found other ways to siphon money, telling Madison the funds were on the way from my estate. If Madison never received a dime, where had it gone? That answer would lead me into a maze I never thought I'd walk. Watching Madison finally sleep, Emma tucked into her chest, I realized this was only the beginning. Derek had made one fatal mistake. He underestimated his mother. Game on. Monday morning, I called his office. When his secretary put me through, I could hear him go pale. "Mom," his voice cracked. We heard that I was dead?" I said lightly. "Funny thing, Derek. I'm remarkably spry for a corpse." Silence stretched. "I can explain. I'm sure. Come to my house tonight. Bring Laura. We're having a family meeting." I paused. "Madison will be here." Madison. He sounded like he might vomit. Where is she?" "Safe, fed, clean," I said. "You know, the basics a grandmother provides when her son abandons his pregnant daughter." 7 sharp, Derek. "Don't be late." I hung up. While Madison took Emma to the pediatrician, her first proper checkup in months, I got to work. I called Patricia Wells, my attorney of 20 years, my insurance company's fraud unit, and Social Security. Patricia arrived at 4 with a serious-looking briefcase. "Betty, this is major fraud. Identity theft, insurance fraud, wire fraud if money crossed state lines." "How serious?" "Federal prison serious." She set a folder on the table. "If you want to press charges, we can have him arrested by Thursday." I froze. Prison? Derek was a liar and a thief, but still my son. What are the alternatives? Full restitution, community service, and a restraining order keeping him away from Madison and the baby. "But Betty, if you don't prosecute, he'll do it again." I pictured Madison's gaunt face, Emma's thin arms, months of grief caused by a forged obituary. Let's see how tonight goes. At exactly 7, Derek's BMW slid into the drive. Laura stayed in the car, smart woman. Derek shuffled to my front door like a man approaching the gallows. "Mom, you look great." "We really thought." I stepped aside. "Madison, come say hello to your father." She came in holding Emma. Derek's face went through 4 colors. "Hi, Dad," Madison said quietly. "Surprised to see me alive, too?" He opened and closed his mouth like a fish. "I can explain." "Please do," I said, settling into my chair, perfectly positioned to watch him squirm. "Explain telling your daughter I was dead while trying to steal my life insurance." He chose the worst path, doubling down. "I was protecting everyone. The Madison made terrible choices and you're getting older, vulnerable. I was simplifying things." Madison found her voice. "Protecting me? You left me under a bridge with your granddaughter." "You made your choice when you got pregnant," he snapped, the mask slipping. "I gave you options." In that moment, I realized my son wasn't just a thief. He was cruel, cold, unrecognizable. "Derek," I said quietly. Something in my tone stopped him mid-sentence. "Sit." He sat. "Good boy. Even monsters can learn." I opened Patricia's folder. "Let's talk choices. You filed a fake death certificate with 3 agencies. You attempted to defraud insurance for $200,000. You let your daughter and grandchild live in poverty while you funneled money in my name." He went ashen. "How did you?" "Oh, Derek." You're not half as clever as you think. I read. Attempted fraud with Lincoln Insurance denied. Attempted fraud with Northwestern Mutual under investigation. Fraudulent Social Security death claim flagged. Madison gasped. Dad, you tried to steal Grandma's Social Security? And here's the kicker, I continued, watching sweat bead on his brow. While the legitimate claims were blocked, $85,000 vanished from accounts I didn't know existed. Accounts opened in my name using your fake death certificate. That's impossible, he faltered. Those accounts. What, Derek? I leaned forward. Finish the sentence. He looked cornered. I was trying to preserve your assets for the family. By stealing them? Madison said, incredulous. From nursing home costs, he groped for excuses. Mom's getting older. What if she can't manage? I laughed. I couldn't help it. So you stole my money to protect it? How noble. Where's the $85,000? For the family, he insisted. For Emma's future. Invested where? I pulled out my phone. My banker's eager to recover stolen funds. He played the card I was expecting. You can't prosecute me. I'm your son. Think about your reputation. People will say you raised a criminal. I stood and looked down at him. For the first time in years, I saw him clearly. Derek, I did raise a criminal. Question is what I'll do about it. Silence. Even Emma quieted, as if listening. Here's what happens, I said, returning to my chair. You have 48 hours to return every penny. Every single penny. And you'll establish a $50,000 education trust for Emma, on top of what you stole, as compensation for the hell you put Madison through. I don't have that kind of money. Figure it out. Sell the BMW. Take a loan. I don't care. If the funds aren't in my account by Wednesday at 5 p.m., I press charges. His face hardened. And if I refuse? I smiled, the same smile I used when he was 6 and testing boundaries. Then you'll learn how persistent your 40-year account mother can be. He slammed the door on the way out. Madison turned to me. Do you think he'll pay it back? I looked at my brave granddaughter and felt a surge of protective fury. He's about to learn 2 rules: you don't steal from family and you never steal from me. Tuesday, voicemails. Wednesday morning, we need to talk. 3 p.m. Derek arrived with Laura, both looking wrecked. Mom, please. We can work something out. I don't have $135,000. You should have thought of that before you became a thief, I said, mixing formula. Mrs. Henderson, Laura said shakily, prison won't solve anything. What about our kids? What about children having a father who lies so easily he convinces his own daughter her grandmother is dead? I asked. Laura flinched. We didn't know about Madison. Derek said she was fine. You've been married 15 years, I cut in softly. Didn't you know what kind of man he is? The truth sat plainly on her face. Derek jumped in. I can get $50,000 by Friday and pay the rest over time. No. Full amount by 5 p.m. Today, or I call Patricia. That's impossible. Then start dialing. Maybe your father-in-law wants to hear how you've been managing his family's money. Laura went pale. Derek, you didn't. His expression told me everything. He'd been siphoning from both sides. How much? Laura whispered. It was a loan, he muttered. I planned to pay it. How much, Derek? $40,000. She reeled. So you've been stealing from 2 families, I said. Efficient. At 4:47 p.m. my phone pinged, wire received $135,000. I looked at the alert, then at Derek, slumped like a punctured balloon. Well, miracles do happen. Are we done? He asked hollowly. Oh, we're just getting started. I sat across from him. You're going to apologize to Madison properly. Then open Emma's education fund. Then you're getting counseling because normal people do not do what you've done. And if I refuse, I showed him my phone. Patricia Wells, speed dial number 2. Try me. He looked at Laura, who stared back like she didn't recognize him, then at Madison, holding Emma, a mix of pity and disgust in her eyes. He finally looked at me. I'm sorry, he said, and for once he sounded like he meant it. Not to me, I said. To her. As he turned to Madison, something settled in my chest. Justice, maybe. Or relief. But the story wasn't over. That night, while Madison bathed Emma, I reread the paperwork. The fake death certificate wasn't sloppily thrown together. It was meticulous. 6 months of falsified medical records, forged physician signatures, a detailed cancer history I never had. This wasn't amateur hour. It was organized. Worse, the timeline showed Derek started setting this up 8 months before Madison got pregnant. He'd planned to rob me long before his daughter needed help. Her crisis had just been convenient cover. I called Patricia. It's bigger than we thought. She arrived within the hour, skimmed the documents, and let out a low whistle. This is organized crime level. Derek didn't do it alone. That's when my phone rang. Caller ID, Derek Jr., my 15-year-old grandson. Grandma, is it true Dad's been stealing? Mom's crying. She told us Dad made bad choices. I heard her tell Grandpa William's dad took from both families. My heart cracked. Derek Jr. is a good kid. It's complicated, sweetheart. There's something else, he said. Dad's been meeting some guy named Vincent for months. Mom doesn't know. I saw them by my school. They were looking at papers, talking about accounts. Dad looked scared. Tricia was already taking notes. Describe Vincent. Older. Pricey suit. Dad seemed nervous around him. When I hung up, Patricia was quiet. Betty, I think your son got in over his head. Vincent may be the architect. Fit, the professional documents, the pressure. Derek had returned $135,000 but still owed criminals. We could all be in danger. Thursday, proof arrived. Derek showed up at 6 a.m. bruised, arm in a sling. They know I paid you back, he said. Vincent's people visited. Madison gasped when she saw him. Dad, what happened? I owed the wrong people. The certificate, the accounts, it cost money I didn't have. I thought if I could get into Mom's accounts, I'd pay them back before anyone got hurt. How much? I asked. $200,000. Plus interest. Silence except Emma's soft babble. $200,000 to people who break bones to collect. What kind of people are we dealing with? I asked. The kind that doesn't accept excuses, he said. The kind that hurts families. As if on cue, my phone buzzed. Nice house, Betty. Pretty granddaughter. Tell Derek we'll be in touch. I showed Patricia. She started calling the FBI about organized crime and witness protection. This isn't about money anymore, I thought, looking at Madison, Emma, and my battered son. This is about survival. The FBI was interested, agents said through Patricia, but needed more than Derek's word. Evidence, names, documents. What kind of evidence? I asked. The kind that's risky to get. Derek spoke up. Vincent meets Thursdays at the Harbor Club downtown, back room. If someone could record. Absolutely not, I said. I won't risk anyone. Mom, they won't stop, Derek said, voice breaking. They already know about Madison and Emma. That night, with cameras installed and patrols arranged, I lay awake. Vincent had made one mistake. Threatening my family. People who threaten my granddaughter learn quickly that 70-year-old grandmothers can be dangerous. Friday morning, I did what the old Betty would never dare. Called Derek. Set a meeting with Vincent. Tell him I want to negotiate. Mom, no. These aren't reasonable men. I've dealt with unreasonable men since before you were born, I said. I've never had stakes this high. Saturday afternoon, the Harbor Club, a temple to expensive suits and cheap souls. Vincent sat in the back room, silver hair, tailored arrogance, two large men standing guard. Mrs. Henderson, he said, not bothering to rise. Derek's told me so much. I'm sure, I said, taking the seat opposite. Let's discuss business. What exactly do you want? 200,000, he said smoothly. Plus 50 for the inconvenience. In return, your family remains healthy and whole. Casual threat curled my stomach. I kept my voice steady. Counteroffer 100,000 today. You forget Derek exists and never contact my family again. He laughed. Mrs. Henderson, I'm not a bank. You're right, I said, lifting my phone to show the recording app that had been running since I walked in. You're a criminal. And I've been recording. The room shifted, the two men stepped forward. Vincent lifted a hand. You're making a mistake, old woman. The only mistake was waiting this long, I said, standing. Here's what happens, you take the $100,000 and walk. Otherwise, this recording goes to the FBI with Derek's testimony. No one will believe a desperate grandmother and her criminal son. I smiled. Maybe not, but they will investigate. And I doubt you can afford that attention. Silence stretched like a wire. Finally, he nodded. 100. Today. In cash, I said. And a written agreement you'll never contact us again. You're playing a dangerous game, Mrs. Henderson. At my age, I said, picking up my purse, they're all dangerous games. I'm just not afraid to lose anymore. 3 hours later, Vincent had his money, I had his signature. Patricia said the document would hold up. Driving home, peace settled over me for the first time in months. Derek waited on my porch, equal parts relief and disbelief. Mom, you could have been killed. I've dealt with bullies my whole life, I said. Vincent was just better dressed. Inside, Madison met us with Emma. Is it over? It's over, I said. He took the deal and agreed to leave us alone. That night, over takeout, Derek cleared his throat. What I did to you, to Madison, there's no excuse. Madison looked up from feeding Emma. Why did you really do it? And don't say it was to protect us. He stared at his hands. Jealousy. I was jealous of Mom's savings, jealous she seemed content while I was drowning in bills. I convinced myself she had more than she needed, that she wouldn't miss it. So you killed me off and helped yourself, I said dryly. When you say it like that, he managed a limp smile, it sounds even worse. I know I can't undo it, but I want to try. You return the money, I said. Vincent is paid. What else? I want to be a better father to Madison, a better grandfather to Emma, and maybe, if you'll let me, a better son. I looked at the broken man who used to be my little boy, at Madison watching with guarded hope, at Emma oblivious to our drama. Being better isn't about grand gestures. It's showing up every day doing the right thing, even when it's hard. I know, he said. I'll try. Madison reached for his hand. I'll give you a chance. But no more lies. No more lies, Derek said. Watching them take the first fragile steps toward repair gave me a deep, quiet satisfaction. Vincent got his money. I got something better, my family. 2 months later, Derek kept his word. Counseling. A second job to repay Laura's parents. Visits with Madison and Emma twice a week. Not perfect, but progress. Then Madison surprised me. Grandma, I want to finish nursing school. Could you watch Emma while I take online classes? I know it's a lot. There's nothing I'd love more, I said, and meant it. Having them with me filled a loneliness I didn't realize I'd been carrying. That afternoon, while Madison studied and Emma napped, I thought about everything. The fear, the anger, the standoff with Vincent. It was terrifying. It also reminded me who I am. I'm not just a retired accountant. I'm a woman with fight left in her, someone who will face criminals to protect her family. Vincent threatened the wrong grandmother. The phone rang. Mrs. Henderson, Agent Sarah Martinez, FBI. News about Vincent Carroll. My heart skipped. What kind of news? Your recording led to a much broader case. Mr. Carroll was arrested this morning with 12 associates. He's tied to loan sharking in 3 states. Your testimony will be crucial. You helped take down a major criminal operation. I sat down hard. Little old me, Betty Henderson, helped the FBI. Who would have thought? That evening, Derek came for dinner, our new tradition. When I told him, he turned several colors. What if he retaliates? Vincent made his choice when he threatened Emma, I said. Whatever happens next, we face it together. Grandma's right, Madison said. We stick together. Around my table, Derek helping with homework, Emma banging a spoon, I realized something had shifted. We weren't just surviving. We were rebuilding. Trial date was set for spring. Life didn't wait. Madison finished her term with a 3.8. Emma took her first steps in my living room. Derek slowly earned back trust. Derek Jr. And Sophie asked to spend Christmas with us. Laura, hurt by Derek's lies but determined to keep the family intact, dropped them off. Mom, Derek said as we watched the kids play with Emma, I don't deserve it, but thank you for not giving up on me. I studied him. The last 6 months had changed him. Arrogance burned away by consequence. Entitlement replaced with humility. The man beside me looked more like the boy I raised than the stranger who forged my death. Family doesn't give up, I said. Family fights, sometimes each other, but fights for each other too. That afternoon, Agent Martinez called again. Mrs. Henderson, Carroll pled guilty to all charges. He'll serve 20 years. He's giving up information on partners. Your family is safe. Safe. Through months of double-checking locks and jumping at shadows, we could breathe. Spring brought Madison's graduation. I held Emma while my granddaughter crossed the stage for her nursing degree. Derek stood beside me, proud. From that rainy day under the bridge to this moment, harrowing, yes, but transformative. Derek learned that choices have consequences. Madison discovered her strength. I rediscovered mine. Dinner, Madison raised her glass. To Grandma, who saved us all. To family, I corrected, who saves each other. To second chances, Derek added. To fresh starts, said Madison. Looking around at my imperfect, complicated, trying family, I realized the best stories aren't about perfect people. They're about broken people who refuse to stay broken. 6 months ago, Derek tried to erase me from Madison's life by pretending I was dead. Today, I've never felt more alive. I'm the grandmother who stared down criminals, the mother who held her son accountable, and a woman who discovered that 70 isn't an ending, it's the start of a new chapter. Vincent Carroll made one fatal mistake. He threatened my family. He didn't realize grandmothers are the most dangerous creatures on earth when their grandchildren are at stake. I spent 70 years preparing for that moment, I just didn't know it. Now, as Emma reaches for my hand and Madison chats about her new job at the children's hospital, I smile. Life tried to write me out of the story. I grabbed the pen back. This time, I'm writing the ending myself. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you have a story, share it in the comments. Your voice matters.